Josh, great to have you back on. And does this affect the ecosystem if it doesn't go through?
It does affect the ecosystem. So right now, there's about $45 billion that's sitting in cash on the gaming corporates. And then secondarily, there's about $175 billion that's sitting on the balance sheets of tech companies that have gaming divisions, such as Meta or Microsoft. So this ruling certainly does have quite an impact on what's going to happen next around vertical integration and M&A in the gaming industry.
And of course, Ed, the argument, for example, in the UK, has been about the cloud element to gaming in particular.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is when I had Bobby Kotick on the show a few weeks ago, he said this isn't anything to do with cloud. It's a tiny market. We're not there yet. We write time and again, Josh, in our Bloomberg News stories that this deal will reshape the landscape for video games as an industry. Does it?
In part, it doesn't reshape it in the sense of sort of upending the entire console market. If anything, this is a continuation of very competitive and healthy competitive markets, right? I personally am on the side of I don't believe that this acquisition is anti-competitive. And so from a cloud gaming perspective, Microsoft actually is the perfect cloud infrastructure platform to build an entirely new market. In addition to not only cloud gaming seeing more competition, you also see the rise of more competition in the mobile market, the Xbox Game Pass mobile store that they want to launch. So this adds a ton of competition already to the industry. And so certainly, they could actually be responsible for creating an entire cloud gaming market.
When you think about some of the compromises, offering Call of Duty on other platforms as an example, what kind of disruption does that give to the industry? Because it changes how players have historically accessed those games. There's a lot of loyalty, right? You're either PlayStation, Xbox, you're a PC gamer. Does that mess things up a bit?
I don't think it messes it up. If anything, I think it actually keeps the playing field across gaming, specifically with Call of Duty, which is really the #1 topic right now. Right now, Call of Duty is played by about 1 million people on PlayStation. So from an economic incentive perspective, Xbox has no economic incentive to remove that game from Sony. And so Sony wants Call of Duty to succeed, and so does Microsoft, and definitely, obviously, Activision Blizzard. So when it comes to what's next, I think that you could see the rise of cloud gaming being a sort of more affordable way for people to game, which would be great for people who don't want to buy, and invest $500 to $1,500 into an Xbox or a latest PlayStation. So I think this is a net win for the consumer. I think over time, you're going to see increasingly more cross-platform games like Fortnite, like Call of Duty. And I think that will continue, and gaming is going to thrive under the approval of this acquisition.
Okay, Josh, if it doesn't get approved, how does that change your own investment thesis? Do you hold back in terms of writing checks at the moment?
We wouldn't hold back. So we focus on seed Series A investing, writing $1 to $5 million checks primarily into technologies, platforms, and infrastructure of the gaming industry. So we will continue investing at early stage, which is proving to be quite vibrant right now. But from a M&A landscape for our companies, once they get to later stages, that is actually where this could have an impact. Are vertical integrations and mergers and acquisitions going to be approved? And I think, as I mentioned earlier, with some of the cash that's out there waiting to acquire great companies, they might be more hesitant because of regulatory concerns versus pure, economic deal making.
Josh, this is the first opportunity I've had to ask you about Apple Vision Pro and gaming. What do you make of it?
I think we're a long way off from the vision that we saw pitched. I think that it is very cool. This is going to be great for very solo experiences. But I view this as sort of one of the, just like the first Oculus that came out, if you remember that, Ed, everyone was very excited about it. But true adoption didn't happen until 5, 6, 8 years later. So I think that the augmented reality world is coming and will absolutely be here. We actually got excited about one of the other announcements they made, where they are actually launching a gaming operating system to turn their PC industry with the Mac into a gaming platform. That actually kind of went under the radar, but was one of the most exciting things we were watching, is that they're opening up the ability to run high-performing games on top of Macs, that will be much more impactful. I think in 4, 5, 6 years, the Vision Pro will enter certainly a more affordable price entry point for the consumer. But
Yes.
like many things, this is about wow now and then later see mass adoption.